Imagine, just for a second, that you've deployed a brand new Web3 app. It's a massive hit. Users are literally pouring in. But wait, there's a huge catch. You've accidentally created an infinite money glitch. And no, it's not making you rich. Instead, your smart contracts are automatically paying every single user's gas fees without any limits whatsoever. Sounds absolutely terrifying, right? Well, welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. In today's explainer, we're going to make sure that nightmare never ever becomes your reality. We're diving deep into cost management and transaction sponsorship policies, focusing on how you can use paymasters to achieve true transaction cost efficiency. Let's get right into it.
So here's our game plan for today. We'll be covering the cost of sponsorship, the 5 core policy primitives, the tiered concierge model, 3 real-world scenarios, and finally, simulating your gas costs.
All right, Section 1, the cost of sponsorship. We're moving from the plumbing to the actual dollars. Check out this distinction, because it's absolutely crucial. In our previous explainers, we really focused on designing paymaster contracts, right? The plumbing. Those are the secure pipes that your transactions flow through. But policies dictate the operational cost. They are the highly specific rules deciding exactly when and how a paymaster is going to cover a transaction's gas. Because look, if you build the plumbing but forget the policies, you've basically just left the faucet running.
Let's put some actual dollars and cents to this to see the financial stakes. $2.40. That is the fiat equivalent cost of a baseline ERC20 token transfer. Mechanistically, we're assuming it eats up about 60,000 gas at a 20 GUI gas price, with Ethereum sitting at around $2,000. Now, for just one user, paying $2.40, probably not a big deal. But watch how fast this escalates. $4.80. The exact second you introduce an account abstraction metatransaction flow, which comes with all that heavy user operation validation, your gas consumption spikes to 120,000. Bam, your cost instantly doubles. Now picture sponsoring 100,000 of those onboarding operations. If you aren't strictly controlling when your paymaster says yes, that $4.80 will literally drain your entire treasury in a matter of hours.
Moving on to Section 2, 5 core policy primitives. These are our tools to stop the bleeding.
Here's the thing. Cost management policies aren't just giant, confusing walls of code. They're actually built from a handful of reusable, composable primitives. Just treat this table as your ultimate cheat sheet. First, you've got triggers, which figure out if a transaction even qualifies for sponsorship. Then you have your limits, caps, which control your maximum exposure per transaction, and quotas, which put a ceiling on your aggregate spend over a set time. You've also got prioritization, which ranks requests when the budget is tight, and finally, fallback rules, which determine what on earth happens when a sponsorship is ultimately denied.
Let's zoom in on the trigger. I actually really like to think of the trigger as the bouncer at a club door. Behind the scenes, it evaluates the unsigned operation metadata and just returns a simple Boolean, true or false. Are you on the VIP sender allow list? Are you just doing a simple token transfer? Or are you trying to sneak a massive contract deployment past the velvet rope? The trigger controls your eligibility surface, so it's always this delicate balancing act between coverage, letting the good users in, and safety, protecting yourself from spam or crazy cost spikes. And honestly, equally as important is the fallbacks. So when the paymaster, our bouncer, says no, what's the next move? Does the whole op crash? Does the operation just revert? Or do we gracefully return a standardized error? Maybe we even try a partial sponsorship where we cover the base fee but not the tips. Fallbacks are critical because they directly dictate the user experience and figure out your recovery strategy when the funds inevitably dry up.
Okay, Section 3, the tiered concierge model. Let's visualize these rules.
So you might be wondering, when you're juggling multiple users, wild gas limits, and shifting fiat costs, how do you actually piece together those 5 primitives, the triggers, caps, quotas, prioritization, and fallbacks, without just getting completely buried in complex code logic?
We use a handy mental model for this called the tiered concierge. Picture your paymaster as a high-end concierge desk equipped with 3 very specific pockets of money. You've got a front pocket, and that's used for your casual micro-sponsorships. You've got a reserved pocket specifically locked down for your premium allow-listed clients. And then you have a safety pocket, strictly reserved for emergency refunds. And let me tell you, there are very few things in Web3 more tragic than having an empty safety pocket right when you desperately need to process a refund.
So when a transaction ticket hits that concierge desk, it runs through a 5-step deterministic flow. Step 1, classify the operation type. Step 2, run the specific triggers for that type. Step 3, check the per operation caps. Step 4, look at the quotas and check those pocket balances. And this is where you'd apply prioritization if a bunch of requests are fighting for the same funds. Finally, step 5, commit the reservation of funds. By the way, if you've checked out any of the developer learning programs over at Forge College, you know they place a massive emphasis on mastering robust, auditable flows just like this. It makes debugging and simulation a total breeze because every single rejection has a clear, predefined reason.
Let's hit section 4. 3 real-world scenarios. Seeing the math in action. We're going to take our concierge model and run a test batch through it just to see how these policy choices actually impact the bottom line. Picture a batch of 100 user onboarding operations. Let's say 80 of them are basic ERC20 token transfers. The other 20 are the heavier, more complex account abstraction meta-transactions.
Now look at the massive swing in our financial outcomes just by changing the policy we apply to this exact same batch of transactions. A conservative policy that only sponsors the basic transfers, that runs us $192. But switch to an opportunistic, allowless policy where we are covering those heavy meta transactions but only for premium users, and our cost actually drops down to $160. On the flip side, a hybrid approach that just aims for maximum broad coverage spikes all the way up to $240. That $80 gap between the opportunistic and hybrid models, that is pure policy design. The exact same inputs, completely different costs.
And that brings us to a fundamental truth of paymaster integration. Policy choices have predictable, measurable effects. You literally cannot just guess your way through cost management. You've got to be entirely data-driven. You must measure gas usage for your typical flows, anchor your caps to those exact measurements, and simulate the whole shebang before you ever push to production.
Which perfectly tees up our final segment. Section 5, simulating your gas costs. Try before you buy.
To actually bridge the gap between measuring raw gas and creating operational policy, you have to build a simulation script. And that script needs to spit out 4 specific metrics. 1, the sponsored counts. How many operations did you actually end up paying for? 2, the total gas units paid. 3, the fiat equivalent costs. As in, what is this genuinely costing you in real-world dollars? And 4, this is absolutely crucial, the explicit rejection reasons. Did a trigger fail? Did you blow past a cap? Or did you literally just run out of funds?
So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Are your current policies actively protecting your project's treasury, or are they silently draining it? Because cost management isn't just about writing smart contracts. It's about engineering sustainable economics for your entire application. If you want to master building these simulation scripts and really dive into Web3 cost optimization, I highly encourage you to check out Forge.college. It's an absolutely incredible educational resource for tackling these exact scenarios. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.